Hey everybody, this is Blue here, and I just wanted to do another live stream. I did one a couple weeks ago, and I really had a lot of fun with it, and so I wanted to do another one. The other reason is work's been taking a lot of my mental time because I've had to worry about some guys. And so I have not been able to make as many videos as I wanted to. I have so many ideas for videos that I want to do, but I can never get them all the way done. And so by going live stream, I'm able just to rattle off these ideas right and left and, get some, feedback from you guys. I really enjoy this. So I want to start off with the I added witch to my name topic. Now, the reason why I did this was obviously purely a marketing ploy as well. It's just that I think people are more interested in the magic aspect, the witchcraft. And so I decided that I was going to start focusing a little bit more on magic. And hopefully you've seen in my videos, I've been doing some more of the pop culture magic themed. Okay. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of the use of pop culture objects. I many years ago used role playing as as my hobby, and so I have been taking spell lists and converting them into real life applications. But my last few videos have been talking about using Yu-Gi-Oh cards. These wonderful little things here. Taking them and converting an image or what it says and turning it into a spell or an herbivore servitor. Because there is a lot of concepts that can be taken from these cards. And so, I thought, what the hell? Like right here is the non-spell casting area. Okay. How great would it be if you were having problems with somebody, if you could, get their location and perform this ritual and kind of turn their area into a magical void? I think that would be cool. And then they have cards like the Skilled Dark Magician, Apprentice Magician, and all that. And so you can take these cards and you can use these as a representation of yourself and avatar in a way, or that you can. Okay, hey, Comedic. Well, yeah. So, all right, I got to change topics real quickly. It's been brought up about the stalker. And you know what? I don't care about the stalker. I will mention her name here right now. Emily, you know what? I'm tired of your crap. You are nobody. Emily is basically a heckler. All she wants to do is go through and get as much attention as she can because she is lacking so much in life. I recently did a video on the toothed owl, and it was talking about evaluating her needs and why she is so angry. And that's why she's angry. Yeah. Yeah. Emily Stevenson is my stalker. Well, most of the people in this room stalker. And yeah, the Mant video. That's MANDT. That is it is the concept in where we take people down that get aggravated. It is a de-escalation program that is mandatory if you work in a state and you take care of people with disabilities. Um, but anyway, Emily, so I'm going to start a procedure with you, effective now. Block, ignore, delete. I'll block whatever channels I find if they are from you. I'm going to ignore whatever you say. You post on my videos, I'm just going to delete them. Okay? You're not going to get anything from me because all you are is a worthless heckler, and I'm done with you. And maybe some others will do that, and all of a sudden your little world's going to get a heck of a lot lonelier. So I was talking about using pop culture and magic, and I just love this idea. There is a lot of Egyptian type cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! It is actually a Japanese anime with Kemetic traditions, folklore into it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So if you've never watched a video, watch it. Okay. Yeah. The other video the other concept I really want to talk about the most was creating relics. We have our books of shadows, we have all this stuff written down, but we don't create anything that's really physical. So, in 200 years, what are they going to have left of us? Well, our stuff could be deleted. I mean, if we have a good lightning strike, there goes our computer. All our computer files are gone. Book of Shadows can easily be burnt. What do we have left of us? So I think we ought to start building relics, because, well, our books can be burnt really quickly, and if we have a couple of fundamentalist Christians come through, our books are gone. I'm kind of saying, I want something that archaeologists can dig up in 200 years and go, what the fuck was this? What the hell? Yes, the temple in Iceland, that is another thing. We are basically in the United States, I think in a lot of areas, we don't have anything that can be found and be left as part of our legacy. I showed some of the tools that I had in my last live stream. One of the things I didn't show was this right here. And all this is a piece of wood. I just took my scroll saw, just cut that out, and I just made a Celtic cross, an actual Celtic cross, where they're equal on all sides. And kids, they're going to wonder about you because everyone's going, oh, you're a X-Men, huh? Oh, yeah, I agree. We have to build a story, a legacy. We need something that can, that represents us. But like I said, we don't create a lot. And so, this is something I created a few years ago. And its part was to be used in rituals. Yeah, could be Renaissance fairs too. This is actually, I forget the name of it, the middle-sized sword in a katana set. And I got rid of the plastic handle and hilts, and I made my own, replaced this because it was all plastic, and now it's metal and wood, and I can use this in rituals. I can do this and use this when I go outside and do my circle. And then in 2,000 years, they could dig this up, and that would be cool. The other part is, yeah, I would love extraterrestrials to visit too. But, we got to pray like heck, that they visit the right people. Because do you want them to actually visit some rednecks in Missouri? I don't. Um, Also, it has to do with the Warrens. If you know, if you remember right, for some of you who know this, the Warrens have a museum of paranormal items, cursed items. The whole Annabelle doll is there. They have some things that are supposed to be very cursed and have embedded spirits and all that. We don't have anything that's really modern that is considered cursed. You know, Kamek, I believe that some of it is fake, but I do believe that some of those items are out there. And so it is possible. Oh, at the Hope Diamond, yeah, that's definitely cursed. That has just such a bad story to it. Then there is there's another diamond. Believe it's from India as well, but it's a black or dark diamond that has a very bad story to it. But we don't have anything modern. And, you know, I think a lot of it because of all the plastic that's in things these days. But I would love to see a cursed Barney doll, you know, come a few years down the road. Because, you know, the whole song, I love you, you love me, I want to kill you, you want to kill me, we're a dysfunctional family, something like that. But, you know, because, you know, we need new horror stories. I mean, Slenderman is a modern creation. And, you know, that can't, with enough people believing it, it's an herbivore. But we need to create relics. We need to create our own items. And they don't have to be bad. They don't have to be evil, because there are so many people that want to create, you know, these haunted rings and all that. But, you know, I think we should create something more interesting. I don't do psychedelic drugs or anything like that. Um, there are people that believe that you need to take a hallucinogen to open up your mind. That until you do it, you understand the ability to, hear colors and all that. You can't understand magic. And I have control issues, and so the idea of taking a drug and losing control and things like that just don't interest me. Um, I am a firm believer that if you need a drug to talk to God or a goddess, then, you know, something is missing in your spirituality. Very true, Jennifer. Some drugs, they all have their own pluses and minuses. Um, some people, you know, they crash when they take certain drugs. One of the guys that I take care of, he is bipolar, and he's got to take his medications or he crashes. And if he gets his AM and PM medications mixed up, he's a nervous wreck. His anxiety goes through the roof. And so I really am cautious about using any types of drugs. So for me, the closest thing that I can use for a drug is what I got right here, and that is my liquid caffeine. Yeah, I'm ready to go all night long. Let's see. Yes, they have used mercury. There are people that used a lot of things that were bad. What is it? Uh, Mistletoe. Because so many people believe it to be an aphrodisiac, because the Celts used to hang it around their doorways and all that. There are some people that actually brewed a little bit of it in their tea, and a little bit didn't kill them, but you know, some poisons actually build up over time. And so it might not kill you today, it might not kill you tomorrow, but next month you could be dead because you had a buildup of a certain poison. Yeah, lead is really bad on the building up. Uh, 100 years ago, they used to put all these drugs in modern, what we would call modern day foods. The reason why Coke is called Coke is because it had cocaine in it. Um, so, I mean, that just tells you how open. Of course, we didn't have the FDA dictating what medications we can use, what can go and what can't. And so it would have been wonderful to go back 100 years in time and get some of these medications and then bring them back. Oh, true. I mean, that's why we have to have the FDA. Too many snake oil salesmen, unfortunately. Oops, I got to remember. I'm backwards on that. Um, so personally, I will never do drugs to get a mental state, because it's just not me. I have my control issues and I don't want to ever lose control. Um, so stay awoke. Um, how about you? Have you used anything that got you in a little altered state? Let's see. But it's going to be interesting now. Well, Comedic, if I remember right, you're in a state that has that legal. You're lucky. Yeah, that's what I was just going to bring up. There's a lot of states now. I think it's a total of 11 in the U.S. where marijuana is legal. Canada, from what I understand, is legalizing it. And I would really like to see the decriminalization of all the marijuana across all the states. And there was even a proposition, I believe it was in North Dakota, where it was also going to forgive all the people of all their marijuana related charges in prisons. And so if you were to do that, just look at all the people that would get out of jail. We would no longer have overcrowded jails, especially in California. And Jennifer, if you remember in the chat rooms, we talked about it, where at that one point California was in massive debt, and if we taxed the churches and made marijuana legal and taxed it, we would be able to have California out of debt. What was it, like 2 or 3 years? Because it would make everything so much easier. Colorado, which has legalized marijuana, they have been using their tax monies to improve their schools and it has really worked out real good for them. And it would be something nice to see go nationwide. Um, because also now, if you were to make it legal, then the drug smugglers would have one less thing to bring in. And if you are more able to get marijuana, it is my personal opinion that a lot of people would stay away from cocaine, heroin, and all that because they can get the desired effects out of marijuana. Now, um, oh yeah, so definitely decrease the opioid crisis. Um, and I think that's why some of the big pharmas are trying to create a synthetic marijuana type medication so that they can put out a replacement for opioids. Um, but so they're going to fight like hell to keep marijuana illegal. And so it's a mess. Yes, I believe a lot of them take great pride in what they do. Um, yeah, that's one of the bad traits about marijuana. Everybody gets the munchies, from what I understand. Um, okay. The only thing I have concern about with legalizing marijuana, and that is certain people with certain jobs. I said this many years ago, and I'm just going to still say it today. I do not want somebody doing brain surgery that smoked a joint, within the last 5 hours, because I don't want somebody waiting for my brain to turn a certain color before they do something. Okay. Well, actually, Jennifer, I disagree with you there. It's not equal to being drunk on the job. There has been enough studies that I have read and seen referenced online that says that there are less injuries due to marijuana than there are to alcohol, because alcohol reduces your reaction time, but they're saying that marijuana doesn't. The only problem is sometimes a person gets a little um, overbaked, and I I believe that's the proper term for it, and that could be the problem. So I don't want somebody that's had a little bit too much um, while doing brain surgery on myself or well anybody. Um, I have never taken marijuana knowingly, and so I also worry about a pilot, kind of in a daze and all that, flying a plane. So I think that if they can go 12 hours before, if there should be like a 12-hour gap. Okay, if you got like a surgery that you have to perform, a plane to fly, 12 hours before then, you are not allowed to smoke a joint and all that. But afterwards, if you got nothing planned, light up. So, Kinetic, I'm going to ask you this. Since marijuana is legal in your little area, do they have a lot of the marijuana infused goodies? because I keep on hearing these reports that they're having like marijuana infused gummy bears and all that. And, you know, the only thing that I've ever been around is marijuana laced brownies. And I was just kind of curious if they did more than just the brownies. Yeah, well, wouldn't doing the edibles be better in a way? Because, you know, um, since it gives you the munchies if you're eating something while you're taking it, wouldn't that help cure some of the munchies and all that? But then I'm going to have to ask you one other question here, since you're the local expert here in the room, which is faster, smoking it or eating it to get the effects, the desired effects? Okay. Well, with my job, I am not allowed. Obviously, Iowa has a lot of laws and all that. Oh, okay, Raven. Well, you know, I would say that any drug that affects you is going to affect you in different ways. And I've never, like I said, I've never taken marijuana intentionally. And so I don't know about all the effects. I do not believe that marijuana is a hallucinogen. So I don't think a person has to worry about seeing the dragon in the room and all that, as you know, I see memes about. Um, but you know, I guess my big thing is like the control for me. Um, I can be a very talkative person, and so the last thing I want is lose control on this mouth and say some really stupid things, because we've all done some stupid things in our lives. Three hours to hit. That'd be a challenge. Oh, and so let's see, what else should we talk about? Well, before I change to the drug topic here, um, down in South America, they have that one drug. It begins with an A. It's really a long name. Um, I know Teal Swan did a video on it. Has anybody did that particular drug? Because I hear some people like to grab that and they like to label it as a shamanic aid. Sorry, I got four cats. I always have to look out my corner if I see some movement. Okay. Okay. Well, and now here's an interesting thing that I read. I don't know if it's true or not. Um, you were talking about no cigarettes. Now, they add a lot of crap to your Marlboros and all that. I read one report at least that smoking pot is not as harmful as smoking a Marlboro. So I always thought that was kind of an interesting thing because, you know, at least when you're smoking marijuana, most cases, that's all you're smoking. But there is like one cigarette where they're adding, let's see, what was it? Chocolate, vanilla extracts, um, a couple more. There's even one, it's a weird one. They're actually putting a sandalwood wood shaving in it because it's supposed to be relaxing. And I just think that is absolutely dumb. Vaping. Okay. Well, vaping has been ruled by a lot of people to be just as dangerous and in some cases more dangerous than cigarette smoke. In Iowa, they've been having a lot of discussions about making vaping illegal, or I should say, putting restrictions, a lot of restrictions on it. They are talking about making some of it illegal because some of the companies are targeting kids because of the flavors that they can come up with on vaping, because they have candy flavors. And so they're saying that they're targeting kids, and so that they either do it, follow these guidelines, or they're going to be banned from like the state of Iowa. There are a lot of studies, and you know, yeah, people do fake studies all the time. You can do that with vaping, you know, politics, whatever, because, you know, this day and age, people are willing to twist facts so damn easily. Pineapple cigarettes. Oh, that sounds nasty. Um, but the e-cigarettes, vaping, that's too many people are also treating them just like normal cigarettes, because you can have people in the same room and they're going to blow their vape in your face. And, you know, some people can get really rude and crude with it. And so it is developing a counterculture. Just like so many people are against smoking, they are developing personalities to be against vaping. There is, I even seen a bar in Des Moines where they have a sign, no smoking, no vaping. Um, it's that bad. Now, the age of internet, where you can put anything up and everything up and pretty much get away with it all. Yeah, that's a bad thing. So I got you four here. What would you guys like to see for further video topics? Damn pen. Post some up there, because I got 2 days off after tonight, and I could actually do some videos. And I would like to hear some of your guys' ideas. I guess I just don't know much about vaping. Like I said, I hear so much counter culture to it. And I'm just hearing so much, you know, yeah. You got to take it with a grain of salt, but I'm hearing so many good and bad about vaping. I just try to stay away from it. Deity series. Okay. Well, that would be interesting. Okay. I'm writing all this down so that tonight when I'm at work, when my guys go to sleep, I could actually do some research. And I just, well, at least hopefully my guys get to sleep tonight. Okay, yeah, spirit communications, yes. All right, that will be something I'm going to research tonight. Get a couple of my books, and I'll work on doing a couple of videos on that. I was also wanting to take a break from the putting pop culture into witchcraft. So yeah, that would be an excellent thing to work on tonight. Let's see. So how many of you believe in egregores? Egregores, I'm sorry. Does everybody know what an egregore is? All right. Okay, Jennifer. An egregore is a thought form. There is many people that agree that a person or a group of people can channel or focus their energies on a spiritual concept and create an egregore. And this person can work as like a servitor, a servant, and I thought an interesting concept. Cindy, when she was in California, the coven that she was with, they created an egregore deity for finding parking spaces. And so what they did was every time that they would be going into a parking lot and they would need a parking spot, they did this chant and they would mention his name, and they would then at the end of it slam their hand onto the dash, and it's supposed to find a parking spot. And I forget his name, but it actually seemed to work. Oh, like Dobby. I don't know if it'd be like Dobby, but it is supposed to be creating a spiritual force that helps you out when you need a little assistance. I always love that concept. And so I was just curious how many people have tried to make one or have succeeded in making them. Because we have our spirit guides. Well, an egregore can kind of work like a spirit guide as well. And we could use that as the middleman or middle entity, if you want to be PC, with communing with other spirits. So that's one thing I like about egregores. Now, when you follow this theory out, it means there's some bad things to it too. The more people that you have believing in this egregore servitor, the more powerful it is. And so you could technically have an egregore or multiple egregores of Satan. So you can actually say that the Christians are creating their own evil. And that when you say that, man, that really pisses them off. Yeah, and it does, because you're going, how much time do you guys spend talking about Jesus? And they're going, well, we talk about Jesus all the time. We proclaim Jesus. I said, act on him. How many times do you guys actually stop and praise Jesus? No, you are out there hunting down Satan more than you are praising Jesus. And thus, because you are acting against Satan, you're putting more energy into Satan. And then you are creating your own evil. Yeah, it would still be an egregore, but it's not the one you're wanting to create. It's the one you create because you put all that energy out there. And for people that are, they contemplate on how the gods came to be. Oh, this is also a way where the gods came to be, because the more people believe in an entity, the more it can come true. So they created a Jesus egregore, but they didn't create just one. With all the denominations of Christianity, there could be like 10, 20 different Jesuses out there, egregore forms, because some of them are going to have, you're going to have your Baptist Jesus egregore, you're going to have your Methodist Jesus egregore. It's a mess. And because of that, there is a part of me that believes that they also cancel each other out. It's kind of like having mixed intent. Yes, the flying spaghetti monster is an egregore. And because he is probably more viewed as one thing by all the Pastafarians, it could be and should be more powerful than any of the Jesus egregores. Yeah, every culture could have their own version of Jesus. So you could have a Russian Orthodox Jesus out there. And now here's the bad thing. We love to make fun of the Republicans because there's videos out there, Republican Jesus, where Jesus is going, yes, I can heal you. Where's your insurance? How much money do you have? Well, they could actually create a Republican egregore Jesus and put their energy into that. Yes, we can have well, actually, if you unfortunately think about it, look at what the European model is for Jesus. This pale white guy with brown, long, shaggy hair and a beard. So many people think that's what Jesus looks like. It has become the visualization of Jesus. And so there's going to be more people thinking of Jesus in that manner than the people that would actually be thinking about what Jesus could have actually looked like. Because since he was a Middle Eastern, he would have had a more darker complexion. His hair would have been darker. And so, yes, white Jesus could not have existed in Middle East. Yes, he would have a lot of blisters on him. And so, thus, this is another version of the Jesus egregore. Right. He should be looking like a Palestinian in the Gaza Strip. And so when you think about it in that sense, the Republicans and the Israelis would be going out and shooting at and killing a more historically correct version of Jesus. So you can create an egregore like that. So you can take any religion, any belief system, and you can do that. Buddha, there's an egregore for it. There might be a couple different, because there are different groups that believe in egregore. The only religion that I believe does not have an egregore for that's mainstream is Islam. And that is because they are not allowed to visualize what Muhammad looks like. That is a crime. If you try to say that this image is of Muhammad, you can be, I believe it's stoned to death. Yeah, no face to Muhammad. And because you can't have a face you can't visualize, and one of the primary aspects to magic, to witchcraft, is visualization. Buddha is secular, yes. If my memory serves me right, it is actually considered an atheist belief system because they do not believe in God. But they have a visualization of the Buddha. And because they have that visualization, you have people put energy into what they think Buddha look like, and thus it can make an egregore. Right. It's a state of enlightenment, but the teacher, I forget what his name is, and I couldn't remember it to save my life, but as they picture him, that would form an egregore of him, of the state of enlightenment, which would actually be an absolutely wonderful thing. It would be like the Akasha record coming to life. So what do you think about that? Darn little thing. Oh, let's see. Yes, Jennifer, we're blowing your mind today. And that's good. And so, I wish we could have a better live stream system for YouTube where, you can have, I know podcasting, you can do it where 2 or 3 people can, share the screen at the same time and we can all talk together. That's one thing I'd wish. Well, right, there are different kinds of Buddhas, and because there are different sects, and so each one could have their own version of a Buddha egregore. Well, I'm glad you're here, Jennifer, and all that. This is probably the closest we're going to get back to having the chat rooms. Well, if Google Hangouts does that, can those videos be transferred to YouTube? because if we could transfer those videos to YouTube, then I would suggest that we kind of set a day, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, where the group can get together and we can talk about different things. All right, I'm going to have to do some research then onto the Google Hangouts. Obviously, I got Google. Oh, okay. Go Lyokin. Yeah. How is he doing anyway? I have not went on his YouTube channel for quite a while now. Is he still having fun with Pat Robertson, or is he found somebody else? Oh, good. That's really good, because the last time that I talked to Lyle Loken, he was having a little bit of a problem financially. So if you got a better paying job, that's absolutely wonderful. Oh, that's good. That's kind of what he likes to do, is doing some debunking and all that. Yeah, I bought myself a new toy. The headset and all that. I was going to go on Anita Fuentes' little website and watch some of her videos and debunk some of her crap. Anita Fuentes, she is a Christian zealot. She does a lot of the pagans are Satan worshipers crap. And so, yeah, I've watched a couple of her videos, and she does not respond to comments at all, because she would make some wild ass claims about Wiccans and satanic worship. And I'm just posting in there, can you prove this? According to this, no. But she won't respond. She is there to preach her sermon, excuse me, and that's it. So I don't even know if she looks at the screen when she's spewing out her crap. I believe that the only reason why she's looking at the screen is because that's where her sermon is being drawn up from. So, yeah, gosh, I'm trying to remember his name from the good old chat rooms. Gosh, Detroit something. Oh shoot, chat rooms, we had so many. Okay, just for the other two that don't know this, Jennifer and I have known each other for close to 13 years, if not longer. Back when they used to have the chat rooms on Yahoo, there was the religious chat rooms, and her and I were a part of a group that attended chat room number 4, and also room 2, and we would debate religion. We would debate anybody who made any claims. It did not matter. As long as you weren't preaching your religion, you could be there all you want to. Yeah, we've had pagans in there. Oh gosh, the one from Maryland. Oh gosh, Zombie. Yeah, and he can make some claims, and like I said, as soon as you made a claim, you had to defend it. So you go in there and you talk to people. You'll learn a lot about religion. I think I learned more about religion there than attending some of the classes that I did, because we had people that was their focus. We had Star from Australia. She really, really knew her stuff. And we had a lot of Muslims that went into that group, and they would go out crying because, Star, she could recite surahs, the Quran, and all that, and it was fun. Yeah. Um, but we had a lot of Christians go in there trying to convert us. They would tell us that we're going to hell, and we'd go, no, prove hell. And that was something that I loved, because when I left paganism, I was angry, at Christianity. I was very upset, and it was a place where I could vent my frustrations, share information, and learn so much. Um, oh yeah, the homophobia was bad there too. We had a lot of Christians that would condemn people for being part of the LGBT community. Hell, we even had people that were just sexist as can be, um, because they were believing that women should just shut up and all that, that the men rule the house and all that. It was terrible. Um, but like Jennifer here, I met some very wonderful people, and some of them are still my friends on Facebook, and I absolutely love it. Yeah. So, I mean, picture your Facebook live stream on steroids, and that's what the chat rooms were like. And it was just amazing. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to find you too, Jennifer. You were one of the great people in that room. Um, so, what else would you guys like to talk about? I mean, I wrote down talking points and all that, um, but I also want to talk with everybody here because this is how I learn, and it's also important for me because I need to talk with people that think like me, that have similar interests, to discuss, because like the four guys that I take care of, because they have mental disadvantages, our level of conversation does get very limited at times. Um, oh yeah. And so, you guys might like this idea. I just put in there filling in the gaps. We all know that I get really tough on those eclectics because they love to throw everything and anything into their path, their tradition, and say that's all peachy. Um, so my question for you guys, or you gals, is, um, when you do your studies onto your tradition, what do you do when you find gaps in the beliefs? Like when you're trying to figure out what this culture, this group that you're trying to follow, um, you're coming up to an event. Let's just take a Sabbath, and you're coming up with a little bit here, a little bit there, but there's some major gaps. How do you fill it in? Oh, nobody was really talking about Hitler. Hitler was an outstanding Catholic. Um, so, you know, yes, yes, I do the UPG myself. And that's kind of hard when you're trying to say that you're a Celtic Reconstructionist because you are forced to fill in a gap and you're constantly trying to do some research and you're trying to fill it in. But there are times where you got to figure out, well, what's the best way to do this? And for me, I try to then look at what the Norse and the Germans did, because the Germans and the Celts, in some ways, are very closely related. And so, and I know that they shared um, commerce, communications. So I think that for me is how I fill in gaps. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're lucky on the comedic because there is, I think, a lot more archaeology involved, and there have been some better record keeping, by the Greeks and such. The Celts, they were their history was on the most part destroyed thanks to the Christians and their wonderful treatment of the Celtic people. Um, so, like I said, I tried to check what the Norse did. I should do a little bit more research on the Iberians because there is a subgroup, the Celtic Iberians, and from Spain, and I thought that was quite interesting. Well, yeah, of course, the Greeks perverted a lot of what the Comedics did. Um, that's kind of like what I have to deal with because everybody says, well, there's a rich Irish traditions, some wonderful Irish information. And I'm going, and most of that was written by Catholic monks. And so they had to put little twists here and there to keep it, what word should I use? To keep it legal to write. Because if they did actually if they actually wrote what they wanted to write or they should have written, they would have been executed, unfortunately. Yes, Irish, excuse me, Irish is a part of the Celtic community, but there are a lot of tribes in the Celtic umbrella. And so, for me, I've always tried to stay and focus on the Gallic Celts, but also I tried to do the Scottish because they also resisted Roman rule, and so they did not get um, Christianity shoved up their ass like so many other areas did. And I think that's one of the reasons why we had a subculture of Celtic Christianity because there was enough of the Celtic people that were able to resist Roman rule. Correct. Yeah, I never asked you this there, Comedic. What is your heritage, if I may ask? Um, Myself, I am Scotch Irish by heritage. I do have a little bit of German in me, to be completely honest, but I am like 80% Scotch Irish. And so that's why I follow a Celtic tradition. Oh, goody. Another person who's come into the chat rooms to talk about capitalism. So, Sunshine, if you want to talk about socialism, that's great. But can you please define what socialism is? And please tell me what the difference between socialism is and democratic socialism, which is endorsed by Bernie Sanders. Okay? Um, I think it's okay. Well, there is nothing wrong with having a good um, mixture of heritage like that, because we then embrace more on the diversity. We have so many people that are very close-minded about um, their heritage. Um, I mean, there was that one um, article I read on Yahoo. Oh, it would have been about 2 months ago when they were starting to do all those DNA tests, and there were people that were pissed off because they were from, the southern U.S., and they were thought that they were pure as white snow. They're going thinking that they were like Scotch, Irish, German, that, and they were learning that they had a little bit of North African in them, maybe some Indian, and so that they discovered they were not 100% white, and thus they had to, they were, how would I say this, criminalizing their own heritage. Yeah, okay, close to 8% on their African DNA. Yes, and so, and that little bit really screwed them up, because you can't say that all Africans are terrible when in your heritage you have African links. Ah, Mr. Capitalism left. Darn. Oh, that's cool, Jennifer. Yeah, when I get a few more of my bills paid, looks like it's going to be, I'd say mid-April. I'm going to do the DNA test myself because I'm wanting to know. And so, as soon as winter's done, I'll have it done. I will do a complete video on that. I've done the um, Ancestry.com, the family tree, and everything is pointing at Scotland, Ireland, and like I said, and Germany. And so, you know, That's at least what my heritage is looking like at this time. Yeah, you see, now that's the problem that the people in the southern U.S. was doing. They were going by family lore, and you see, that's the problem. Um, you see, my name is pure Scotch Irish. I'm sorry, Scottish Gaelic. And my dad made sure my name was Scottish Gaelic intentionally because he did not want any German in my name. And the reason was because of World War II. Because in certain areas in the U.S., even in the 1960s, there was still some animosity towards German people because there were German prisoner of war camps in the United States, and you did not want to have, for some people, their grandfather to be a German POW. um, okay. Yeah, actually, my mom's side of the family is from southern Minnesota, and there was a German POW camp in that area. It was like 60 miles away from where my mom grew up. And so that was a big thing right then and there. Enough time has passed where a lot of people have probably forgotten it, you would think. But, if you're a history nut, you know that type of thing. Oh, we're gaining more viewers. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Keisha. So, Keisha, I'm implementing a new rule on the Emily situation, and it's going to be block, ignore, and delete. I'm going to block every channel, ignore whatever she says, and if she makes a comment on my channel, I'm just going to delete it because she thrives on the attention, and so I'm just going to take it away from her. And what are you working on tonight, Keisha? Bad thing about drinking the iced coffee and having a mustache. You're getting better. Well, that's good. See, other gaps in there is, and I know, like I said, I'm really rough on the eclectics, and that is they fill their gaps with unrelated concepts. Oh yeah, there's a few bugs going around, and hopefully they stay the hell away from me. Because we have people that follow a pagan path, and they will grab something that is like Shinto from Japan and try to put a couple concepts in with, like a Celtic. Lyokan, he did a video on this many years ago, and I I've done videos on this, and people have done comments. There are people that proclaim to be a Celtic Native American um, hoodoo shaman. And it's just like they're taking four concepts, throwing it together. And I think that creates more gaps, more inconsistencies than anything. Well, being eclectic is fine. And as long as you can explain why you're doing what you're doing, and you can explain why you are excluding things. Um, yeah, that would make me cringe too. Um, there are people that mix pantheons. They love this goddess and that god from two different pantheons, and they put them together. And the problem I have with that, honestly, is that pantheons have interactions within itself. I mean, we all know the story between Athena and Ares, two war gods, or war god and war goddess, and one is smart, the other one is brutish, violent. And so if you are going to claim Athena and ignore Ares completely and replace Ares with some other war god from another pantheon, that relationship's not there. And, they're kind of wanting to say this is perfectly fine. Now, a person can believe whatever they want. Yes, they have that freedom, but to me, they are not, putting reasoning into it. I mean, it's like saying, well, like I've seen a couple of young Wiccans on Facebook that did magic goddesses only. So they are having Hecate with Caradwyn, and what more? Baba Yaga. And I'm just going, now, how do you balance that out? And so, okay, yes, the all gods are one God. Now, I have a personal problem with that, because if you say that all gods are one God, and that in a pantheon you have a god with different personalities, you are then got to explain to me, how can you be God A and God A is mad and feuding with God B, and yet they're the same thing? It's like a god that's arguing with himself. And that to me is illogical. And so that is why I refuse to do the all gods are the aspect of one God. I am a polytheist, and that's why. Yeah, yeah. Um, and I could very sure you know this, Kasha. The devil, Satan, is a Christian construct. The Christians brought him into existence because they could not handle the idea of their God doing bad things. The Jews, the Hebrews, they had no problems with their God, bringing life and then killing off the world, but the Christians couldn't handle it. And so they used a duality and said, well, there is the good God and the bad Jesus, the bad Satan. And it's terrible because when you confront Christians on this, they really lose their cool. And I know Jennifer right now is just laughing because she's probably, just thinking about all the topics we've had on this. Butthurt is the nice way of saying it. Because you can go to the book of Job, and if you read it, you will learn that God is the one that's punishing Job, not Satan, God. Because it is a test on Job, and so God is doing all that. God is the one killing Job's family, friends, animals, and all that. Oh yeah, Jennifer, there are people that do that, and on that example, I got to go. What about all the other Norse gods? Because you have like Bodir, Tyre, and what about the goddesses? That's the thing. You cannot transfer other religions and say that it's all part of the giants. Yeah, it's actually part of their monotheist, because with monotheism there is no goddess, and so it is kind of an insult to all the pagan beliefs when they try to say that it's all accepted as a part of Christianity. When people try to combine, and we're talking about Emily here, who try to combine being a Christo-pagan, they want to take the Norse concept and match it up with the Christian concept and say that's all good. Egypt was just itself. I wouldn't call it weird. I mean, if you look at it historically, there is enough evidence that shows that the way the Egyptians were thinking made sense. And so, it's all cool to me. It's not a path that I follow, because I just follow what my ancestors did. And let's not go into whole migrations and saying that, well, my ancestors originated in North Africa, so yeah. Yes, a lot of this is strange to the Western mind. There are people that refuse to grasp the concept of multiple gods because they believe that there can only be one God and that it is so damn powerful. And, the concept of gods is even up for debate. We had that discussion, I think it was about a week ago, about, how you view yourself as an atheist. Okay. Sorry, Kasha. You were viewing yourself as an atheist, Comedic. And, I was just saying, the way you described it, I would view it as more agnostic. And so, what what is the definition of a God? Some people, because if you take it like an egregore, it is an area of energy that has a similar vibe. Well, thank you, Kasha. I'll mess with you later on then. Who knows? Tonight I just might come up with a video just dedicated to you. But anyway, so in a way, it's kind of like the way the Celts were, as I view it. They have their gods and goddesses from each area, like the Ardennes forest had its own goddess. And so, Arduena, who is the deity they named that forest after. And so all this particular vibe of all that energy in the Ardennes forest is Arduena, the Celtic forest god. They have river gods and goddesses. Well, energy that is part of that river is that god or goddess. And the simple-minded of the Christians, they want to say all energy is God, and that just doesn't work for me because there's opposing energies. And it's just crazy with the way the Christians, their simple minds. Right. Gods were part of everyday life. How you lived and what you needed dictated what gods you had. Because if you did, I'm pretty sure the people in Africa would really have loved to have a god of winter sometimes, but let's face it, they did not have a winter god in the middle of the desert. But the Norse and the other northern tribes, they did have weather gods, and some that were of snow or ice. What was the Norse one? Skaldi, if I remember right. And so, yeah. That's one thing I love about the pagan tribes. The further north you go, the more females there are in the pantheons. Unfortunately, the further south you go, the less there is, because a lot of the Greek and Roman sexist views, mixed in with Christianity, of course, went through and just said male, male, male. And that's what screwed up the world in so many ways. So, gee, what were we talking about the goddess on this subject? But anyway, there are so many different God concepts. We cannot rule them all out. Well, we can, because like the Christian God concept is the exception to the rules on everything. I mean, he's here, there, everywhere, but yet nowhere. True, true. Yeah, the Norse, they did love to sail. Well, they were great thinkers. And I think, okay, I gotta say this, right? Christianity has destroyed the world. In the religious debate rooms that we were in, we have made claims that Christianity held back or sent back the human race at least 400 years with their Theodamus edicts, where they destroyed the libraries of Alexandria and any other institution that regarded knowledge. So if you were part of the Roman Empire during that time, more likely you lost a lot of what you held sacred, because you had a bunch of pissed off Christians coming in there destroying scrolls, books, whatever you had. The Norse, because at that time period were independent and not under Roman control, what knowledge they had, they kept. And so they still had the spirit, the fire to explore. And that is why, in my personal opinion, why the Norse discovered discovered North America and not Christopher Columbus. Yeah. Yeah, the Christians, because they did not want anybody to have any of the abilities that supposedly Jesus had. So if you were a healer, yeah, you had to die. And so since we're coming to that particular time of the year, how many of you are celebrating Thanksgiving this year? I, like always, am not going to celebrate Thanksgiving. I will be having a meal with my family. And I will be having a meal with the guys at work. But I will not, in any way, shape, or form, call it Thanksgiving. It's Many of you probably know the history, that Thanksgiving is a day to commemorate slaughtering Native Americans, and I absolutely hate that. Well, I got 3 dinners that I got to do for uh, fall time festivals. That's how I get by saying them. Because I got the one at work for my guys. 2 of them do not have families to go home to. And so we become their family. And so I'm going to go there and I'm going to help them cook. And we're going to have a small turkey, and we're going to have a Thanksgiving fall festival for them there. Then I'll be going to my mom and dad's and having a small Thanksgiving with them. And then Cindy and myself are going to have another Thanksgiving here as well. So I got to find some space to store some turkey. Although there's a part of me that's saying one of these groups is going to have a ham, so I don't have 3 days of turkey. Or I should say 5 days of turkey, when you consider leftovers. Yeah, everybody loves turkey except for when you're doing turkey salad sandwiches on day 5. And I kid you not. As a kid, that's what I had to do. I loved it, yes. But on day 3, third day after Thanksgiving, my dad would get out every year that the meat grinder, the hand crank meat grinder, and he would make this huge bread bowl sized bowl of turkey salad for sandwiches. I was 7 years old at that time when that tradition started, and I couldn't tell my dad to get a smaller turkey. He usually got the biggest turkey they had every year because he was going, we do this, and I don't have to cook for 3 days. So, yeah. Jennifer, I've never had a turkey stir fry, and I don't think I want to start. Turkey soup sounds more like a punishment. Although it probably would be just like having a chicken noodle soup, chicken stew, or something like that. But if you were saying turkey soup, I would be going, and what the hell did I do wrong? I mean, it's bad enough as it is. When I did all the grocery shopping a couple of days ago, I bought split peas and ham. And so in a couple of days, I'm going to have split pea and ham soup. And so, and I have to be a good guy. I have to be a supporting partner, and I will eat a bowl of it so that Cindy feels happy. It's something that I can't get out of. And to this day, I have not had a deep fat fried turkey. Sorry. Former in-laws of mine did the deep fat fried turkey. And this was like their first time doing it. This was when it was still, very new. And yes, they tried to deep fat fry a frozen turkey. Their garage burnt down. Luckily for them, it was a detached garage, but they basically just opened up the doors halfway, put it, I think it was like a foot out of the garage, dropped that sucker in, and well, that's good. I mean, I bet it tastes great, but I've never had one. Yeah, these particular former in-laws, they try to live a very natural life, which I got to commend them for. I do. But they, one year they were going through a hard time, and they knew that there was a possum in their barn because they lived on the edge of town. And they went and they spent an hour trying to corner and kill a possum. And that's just something that you will never see me eat. No, I'll starve. Thank you very much. So, Kasha, what's the weirdest food that you've ever eaten? We'll have some fun here. The weirdest food that I ever ate was when I was in Europe. I was at a hotel and I was trying different foods because, that's what you're supposed to do. And there was this one thing, they gave it a weird name. And then right underneath it, they gave the English version. I was in Poland, actually, when I had this. And they call it fish and aspect. It was a long name in Polish. I could not I've never had squid. But anyway, it was fish, some vegetables in Jello. And I'm just going, it was like it was a white fish, kind of like a cod and all that, but basically fish Jello. And that was hard to eat, but I was not going to offend anybody there, because, there's so many stories, about the dumb American that came and visited and wanted this or wanted that. And so I had fish Jello once. Luckily, they had some other things that I ordered that were absolutely delicious. They have a meat and potato type patty thing. If I could ever find the recipe for it, I'll make it my damn self. And then the next to weirdest thing that I have ever eaten was turtle soup. When I was a kid, we had a neighbor who did a lot of fishing, and there is there's a specific lake that he would go to in northern Missouri, and he would fish for snapping turtles. Pig intestines? Yuck. Yuck. And so my friend, he would fish, or I don't know how you call it, but he would get 3 snapping turtles, and he would then go and clean them, and he made turtle soup. He fried turtle, and it was delicious. It really was. But, I asked him how he killed the turtles and all that, because he's doing this in a boat and they're snapping turtles. And he goes, well, that's what you always wonder what that sledgehammer is for. You go, yeah, well, that's what it's for. So, all right. So, Jennifer, you're saying that you are a picky eater, but still, you've had to have eaten something in your life that was weird. Turtle in some cultures is normal, and so that's cool and all that. I think we need to embrace some of the different cultures, different aspects. Deer steaks. I've had deer, and it actually is pretty good as long as it is butchered right. And on the deer, they got the scent glands, and so if you have somebody butcher the deer and they don't take care of those scent glands first and have them removed, it can really affect the flavor of the deer. So that's, well, at least what I was told. But yeah, I do like deer. Yes, it does. I've never used it as meatloaf, but I've had beer hamburgers. Those were good. We actually had somebody where I used to work that had gotten some deer and was having too much, and he gave people a whole bunch of deer hamburger, and we used it for hamburger helper, and it was pretty good. Salisbury steak with ground deer. It's different. Let's see. What other weird foods have I eaten? That's pretty much it for weird, because, sushi, fish, and hamburgers? No. I do love Chinese food. Well, Asian food, I should say. And so when, you know, we're in Des Moines, we'll stop at like Panda Express. We'll get like the orange chicken, cashew chicken, things like that. There was one buffet that was strictly Chinese Asian theme, and you know, had mussels and all that. I've never even heard of a Korean barbecue, but that particular Metro place had sections set off, and so it was like for $3 extra, you can eat sushi. You just had to have the little ticket. And I went and I looked at it, and I was going, man, maybe I'll look at it. And I looked at because I was going, well, if it looks halfway decent, I'll try some. I got up there. It's like, man, that's a lot of raw fish. No. I'll stand by my standards of I like my animals extra dead and crispy. Hawaiian barbecue, yeah. I would like to go to Hawaii someday, at least not to a tourist trap. Because there is, what I've heard about with Hawaiian barbecue is, you know, they put it in these, they bury it in these pits with heated rocks and all that. And that would be interesting to try. Because, you know, I think that'd be pretty interesting. Hey, I'm not going to do sushi either, so I guess that means I'm not very fun either. Oh, ugh. Yeah, it's basically a baked pig. So I don't know how it would be classified as. Well, I like veggie sushi as well. I mean, raw vegetables. But no, I like my animals extra dead and crispy. Up to 5 viewers again. So all of you haven't said anything. How we doing? If you'd like to talk about something, please put it up there on the screen so that I can see it. We're all pretty open-minded, and we're willing to talk about anything and everything. But somehow we got talking about food, and weird food at that. And so, well, let's throw up. Well, not throw up. All right. How about this one for a topic while we're Isis Rose. Now, I haven't seen any of her videos and all that. I would have to ask, is she more intelligent than Emily? Well, of course, that's not going to take much because she has no videos. Oh, okay, so you know that's the one bad thing about YouTube. There are a lot of people that have accounts that do not make videos. They just go around and comment on other people's videos. Yeah, she can spell that. See, that's the part where it doesn't take much to be smarter than Emily. Okay, Jennifer. Hey, thanks for stopping by and chatting with me. Glad that you're feeling better, and hopefully we can talk again real soon. But yeah, what was it? In her videos last night, she called us her stalkers, not stalkers. Stockers instead of Stalkers. And what was it on Will's video? Dill instead of deal. Yeah, there are people that just don't. Stalkers of the deal. Yeah. There are people that do not think. There was an interesting comment made on my Facebook account the other day, and I agree with it. We are conditioned when people talk to respond and not to listen. We wait for them to finish what they're saying to respond to it, not to understand it. And so this Iris Rose person is somebody that responds. She's not going to take the time to understand. And who knows, maybe that's one of the 4 people, or at one time we had 6 in here, and she left because we're talking about her. So, yeah. Speaking of death and all that, one of the other topics I was wanting to talk about tonight was why turning away from the light is good. We have so many people here that proclaim to be light workers, and you know how I feel about that. Too much of this, shun all negativity, shun all negative people. If somebody is toxic, we must shun them. And it's just like, man, these people, they don't understand, how to interact with people. And so, that always irks me, because all right, well, I'll talk to you later then, Comedic. And have yourself a good night. And if you post a video, I'll make sure I see it later on while I'm at work. And so, as I say, there are people out there that just need a little help. They are having a bad day. And so, if these same people that are saying they want to make this world a better place were to actually help people, they would actually do some good. So these light workers are pain in the butts. The best way to bring light is to work with the dark and take it under control. You cannot have light without dark. You cannot have dark without light. So to say you're going to shun one is actually putting yourself out of balance with both, if that makes sense to everybody. But we have too many pagans, too many witches out there that want to say that they are into white magic, or where they don't do black magic. Black magic, is all about perception, actually, because when you think about it, what is right and what's wrong is all perception based upon how you view the world. And so if you have no problem with doing a spell that makes somebody drop their cell phone in the toilet, well, hey, guess what? That's not dark magic, but they're going to say that's black magic because you're wishing somebody harm. And life, nature, is harm. For us to survive, other things must die. It is survival of the fittest. And so we cannot just do this harm none stuff. And so, I'm not going to say I'm a good person. I don't do white magic. I do gray magic. And sometimes it gets a little dark. So, Kasha, what about you? You practicing any of that gray magic? Okay, and how much of it have you sent at Emily? Because I am going to have some fun with Emily. Um, I don't think she took me seriously. Um, my sister works for Lyft, that group hub, where people can order things online, meals, and have them delivered. That's what she actually gets paid to do, and she makes some good money in Kansas City. Well, my sister's coming home, and she's going to be coming home on Wednesday night. Well, I convinced her. I told her I'd pay her $5 to do it. She's going to drive through Odessa. She is going to get me one baby food jar full of dirt from Emily's front yard. Because since she lives at the apartment complex, she's going to get me some dirt from there. And then she's going to bring it to me. So I'll have that Wednesday. And then, I could do a lot with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a full moon. Oh, I mean, a new moon. And I am going to do something. I haven't decided what yet, but I can do that. And then, and I know I won't be able to do it because more likely Emily's watching this, or she will watch it. And I think I could even order some Buffalo Wild Wings with some extra hot sauce. I mean, yes, I'd have to pay for them and all that, but have them delivered right to Emily's front door. And, it might be my sister that delivers them. It might not be. Who knows? But if it does, I think that would be funny as heck. And so, yeah, Emily, she threw a little hissy fit on that because she's saying she's going to have my sister arrested. And so, I have to laugh at this because I'm just going, and Emily, how are you going to explain to the police officers why my sister needs to be arrested or detained and all that for going to her apartment complex? She doesn't actually own the ground. And have my sister grab a baby food jar full of dirt and walk away. I would just love to see that conversation because damn well she's going to go. She's going to use it to cast a curse against me. And the police are going to laugh in her face. And I mean, my sister, she understands that I don't follow the Christian path, which my sister does. But she does, she is very accepting of it because she has seen that I don't go out there and try to cause people harm. Of course, she does not know all the details about why I want the dirt, but yeah. And so I would be able to have the dirt. I have the Google Maps picture. So I have the ingredients from her place, plus a visualization of her place. So, yeah. And we'll see how well Emily can defend herself against that. So, But anyway, I think it's all right for us to do even dark magic. I mean, because we live in survival of the fittest. That is the law of nature. And so if we have to do something to protect ourselves or to further our advancement, I think it's acceptable, as long as we are not murdering somebody. Maybe we might have to put somebody at a disadvantage, such as Emily. But, I think that comes to be a part of life. So does anybody else have something that they want to discuss? Because I just looked at the clock and we hit the 2-hour mark. And so if nobody has anything to say or want to talk about, I think I should bring this video to an end, because, gotta give it a time for it to process. This was actually quite fun again tonight. Talked about a lot of things, some things I wasn't even planning on talking about. Well, I'm actually going to try to make this into a weekly event. And Sabora was informed me that we can actually do this as kind of like a group affair on that, was it Google Meetup or Google Groups type thing. And if that's the case, well then I'm going to set that up, and we could actually get it where we're all able to get to the mics and talk, and I think that would be a lot more fun. And so then I can hear your wonderful voice too, Kasha. And I think we would be able to determine who can be on the mic. And I don't know if it's limited, if we can limit who can be part of it, because like I said, I got to do my research on it. But if we can limit it, we can have a nice discussion about anything we want to. And if we can keep Emily out of it, we can, enjoy it. And then we can post it up. We could probably put on the Toothless Owl, or, one of our channels, or all channels. I don't know. And we can have a lot more fun with this. Okay? So, all right, I'm going to bring this video to a wonderful end. I want to thank everybody for stopping by and chatting with me. It was a lot of fun, and got to do some venting, got to do a lot of laughing. So everybody, take care, be at peace.